Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and welcome back to another episode of the Greatest Warrior Lu Bu lore series, as we continue with part 4, titled Becoming a Warlord. So last time, we left off with Lu Bu escaping Chang'an as the city fell at the hands of Li Jue and Guo Si. Now, without a place to call home, Lu Bu and his group of 100 or so loyal men rode north back to their home province of Bin. At this time, Yuan Shao, the former leader of the coalition against Dongzhuo, had also returned to the north, and after confederating Han Fu's land in the Ji province, he was busying himself with the task of repelling the Black Mountain bandit threat that had plagued much of the north as the war against Dongzhuo had left much of the land undefended. While the initial phase of pushing back the Black Mountain bandits had been largely successful, as Yuan Shao's armies pursued them back to the namesake Black Mountains in the Bin province, the sheer number of bandits and terrain difficulties ended up creating a stalemate. And it was at this moment that Lu Bu and his small group of troops arrived offering a means to break this stalemate. Having heard rumors of Lu Bu's strength, Yuan Shao happily accepted Lu Bu and sent him and his men to the front lines. And with a decent familiarity with the local terrain and armed with the red hair, which makes its first appearance in the history books here in this battle, Lu Bu and his small group of men would conduct multiple raids every day on the Black Mountain bandits. And not only did Lu Bu conduct upwards of 4 raids a day, he would also bring back numerous heads from each raid as proof of their kill count. This would continue for close to 2 weeks as Zhang Yan's forces finally started to show signs of defeat. And riding high from his success here, Lu Bu started to request for more troops from Yuan Shao. But having just met him for less than 2 weeks, Yuan Shao refused Lu Bu's request, as he still did not fully trust Lu Bu yet. Dissatisfied and eager to expand his forces and influence, Lu Bu and his men then took matters into their own hands as they started to loot, raid, and pillage nearby villages, much to the displeasure of Yuan Shao, who had hoped to win over the support of the civilians in this area after pushing back the bandits. Luckily, Lu Bu was also aware of Yuan Shao's displeasure, as he would smartly request Yuan Shao to redeploy him back to Luoyang instead. Well, openly, Yuan Shao agreed to this request and even gave him a promotion to become the commander of the Silu region. Secretly, Yuan Shao already had enough of Lu Bu's antics, as the armor guards tasked with escorting Lu Bu back to Luoyang were given a secret mission to assassinate Lu Bu in the middle of the night. But fortunately for Lu Bu, he quickly became suspicious of these guards, and in the evening of their first night on the road, Lu Bu ordered one of his troops to come into his tent to play the guqin to give off the impression that he was still in camp. But in reality, Lu Bu and his men secretly left the camp before nightfall. And when these guards went to his tent in the middle of the night to kill him, all they would find would be an empty bed. And after reporting this back to Yuan Shao quickly ordered a pursuit team to go hunt down Lu Bu. But due to Lu Bu's feats against the Black Mountain bandits that had left such an impression in the minds of Yuan Shao's troops, the team made a business decision to keep their distance after discovering Lu Bu's forces, as they value their own lives more than Yuan Shao's command. So watching from a distance, Yuan Shao's pursuit team would follow Lu Bu from Luoyang to Chenliu, where the local administrator, Zhang Miao, would welcome Lu Bu, as the two would become quick friends before Lu Bu opted to continue back north towards Henei to join up with his old friend, Zhang Yang, who is now a small warlord in his own right. And in case you forgot, Zhang Yang had been one of the 2 congshi of Dingyuan along with Zhang Liao, so it made sense that Lü Bu would want to join up with him at a time like this. However, the most important event from this trip would definitely be the meeting with Zhang Miao, as it would plant the seed for something much bigger down the line. You see, the immediate effect of this meeting would be a grudge forming between Yuan Shao and Zhang Miao. While the two of them had been classmates in their youth along with Cao Cao and good friends, but now, with the warlord splitting the land, Zhang Miao had already slightly offended Yuan Shao by joining Cao Cao instead of him. And now, with Zhang Miao openly welcoming essentially a fugitive of Yuan Shao, this relationship soured farther. While Zhang Miao might not have initially realized that Lü Bu was a fugitive of Yuan Shao, he did realize the severity of the situation afterwards, as he started to fear for his own life, as it was a real possibility that Yuan Shao could take his life either through a direct attack on his commandery of Chenliu, or by simply asking Cao Cao to execute him, as Yuan Shao and Cao Cao shared a closer bond than Zhang Miao, and Cao Cao was still heavily dependent on Yuan Shao in these early days. This became even more worrisome a year later in 193, when Cao Cao's war against Tao Qian showed his darker side, with over 15 cities razed and massacred. And when the scholars of the Yan province spoke out against Cao Cao's war atrocities, Cao Cao had their leader, Bian Rang, executed. This struck the wrong chord with many of the gentry clans in the Yan province, as Bian Rang was an extremely well-respected scholar and a retired former administrator. So in early 194, as Cao Cao embarked on another attack against Tao Qian, his own officials, led by Chen Gong, organized a coup against Cao Cao. Knowing that Bian Rang's execution probably reminded Zhang Miao of his potential fate if he continues to serve under Cao Cao, Chen Gong approached Zhang Miao first. Now, there are good reasons for this, as if you remove the issue between Zhang Miao and Yuan Shao, Zhang Miao's relationship with Cao Cao is quite tight. When Cao Cao first went on his initial campaign against Tao Qian in the year prior, when the fate of the campaign hung in the balance and he wasn't sure if he was going to win, he had told his families on the day of his departure that if he does not return and dies on the battlefield, then they should run to Zhang Miao, as he would certainly take care of them. Thus, Zhang Miao and his brother, Zhang Chao, were entrusted with defending two of the commanderies while Cao Cao was gone, and Chen Gong was also highly ranked in the army at this time, and he also commanded the commandery of Dong while Cao Cao was away on his campaign. Add in a few other officials who were all disillusioned with Cao Cao's rule after Bian Rang's execution, and overnight, the entirety of the Yan province turned on its head, as Chen Gong, on the recommendation of Zhang Miao, invited Lü Bu to become their new leader, as Lü Bu's famed strength seemed like a reliable force to help them stop Cao Cao's guaranteed counterattack. And without doing anything, overnight, Lü Bu suddenly went from an on-the-run fugitive seeking shelter in Henei under his old friend Zhang Yang to becoming the new governor of the Yan province with full support of local gentries, as all but 3 cities in the Yan province rallied immediately to Lü Bu's banners. And the only reason the cities of Zhencheng, Dong'e, and Fanxian didn't flip was because they had Cheng Yu, Xun Yu, and Xiahou Dun defending them. Hearing this grim news on the front lines, Cao Cao immediately halted his campaign against Tao Qian, as he quickly sued for peace with Liu Bei, who had come all the way from Pingyuan to assist Tao Qian after Tao Qian's failures in the campaigns the year prior. Then, without wasting a moment, Cao Cao turned his army around, as they would now march straight for Lü Bu's forces garrisoned at Poyang, to determine the true owner of the Yan province. And with that, we're going to be ending our episode here, as we'll continue next time to cover the battles over the Yan province and Lü Bu's next steps. So hopefully you all enjoy this episode, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!